Hello, everybody. What's going on? Just wanted to do a video here previewing just the top of the card at this upcoming UFC this weekend, UFC 238. And anyway, it's looking like a good card from top to bottom. The main card, got Jimmy Rivera tied to Vasa. We've got Jessica Ai versus Shevchenko. We've also got Cowboy Cerrone versus Tony Ferguson, which is, I think, really should have been the highlight. This is the fight I'm most excited about and what most people are most excited about. And then we got the main event, which is Henry Cejudo versus Moraes. So, anyway, let me get to it. I'm really only going to look at the top three fights of the night. The first one dealing with Tony Ferguson and Cowboy. And to be honest, I really haven't been able to make my pick on this fight yet. Let me look at it some here. For one, fighting at 155, which I think is going to be an advantage to Tony. Cerrone, he performed well the other night versus Al at 155, but we've seen a better Cowboy really at 170, except for some of the bigger guys really can't match size with. But that being said, at 155, I think that's going to be a slight edge to Tony there. Even though Cowboy's used to fighting there, I think the cut is a little bit harder for Cerrone than it is for Ferguson. They're really about the same size guys, to be honest, though. Also looking out, the Cowboy is a slow starter. I think a 5-round fight would go in the favor of Cowboy as opposed to Ferguson. Ferguson seems to get into it and get it pretty quick. His fights, he's had quite a few 5-rounders too, but a lot of his fights have been a lot of them don't seem to go the distance, though. I think 5-round went the distance versus RDA. I'm trying to think who else. He went 3 rounds versus Kevin Lee. Anyway, I'm really having a hard time predicting this fight. This is a very even matchup. I'm really saying a lot of ways it could be a pick'em fight. Both guys have solid striking. I would give the edge in striking to Cowboy, especially with the kicks, but the creativity would go to Tony. Both guys good in the scramble, but I would give Tony an edge on anybody in the scramble. That seems to be when the fight becomes chaotic. That seems to be where he goes best. And Tony starts pretty quick as opposed to Cowboy, who settles into a rhythm of a fight, which I'd say 5 rounds probably would favor him because he picks up the rhythm of the fight better as it goes on than Tony. Tony kind of, like I said, kind of thrives in the chaos, but he does good at picking up the fight too and becoming more aware of what his opponent's doing. That said, the ground game, they both have phenomenal ground games. Cowboy's ground game is way underrated. He's got tons of submissions, and Tony has an excellent darce and excellent ground skills as well. I think the edge is going to go to the wrestling for Tony, though. So, wow, how do I pick this fight? I'm going to say, first of all, if I'm pulling for Cowboy, I want Cowboy to win this fight. I'm a Cowboy Cerrone fan. Been watching him since WEC back in the day. But being at 55, being that it's a 3-round fight, seeing that the cut might be harder on Cerrone, I'm actually going to go with Tony Ferguson for this fight. And I could be dead wrong on this one because I could see Cowboy ending the night with a head kick or some good strikes too, because Tony seems to get caught and seems to do a lot of things, not textbook, he seems to do a lot of things wrong and get caught because of it. And I could see Cowboy ending this fight via strikes, to be quite honestly. But I think that wrestling edge that Tony could use against the cage, being a faster starter, the weight cut not being as hard, so his cardio should probably be a little bit better than Cowboy's, who's never really been gassed in a fight either, though. But I give the edge to Tony. So I'm going to pick Tony by a slight margin. I'm going to go 3-round decision, Tony Ferguson. The co-main of the night, Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai. I see this fight being a very one-sided fight. I see it, to be honest, to be mauling. I'm a fan. I like Jessica Ai. I'm actually watched her for a while. I'm a fan of hers. I just don't see where she has any part of her game that can overwhelm or disrupt Shevchenko's game. Shevchenko's a bigger girl. They both fought at 35, and Shevchenko fought for a title at 35 and lost by a gnat's hair split decision. She could have very easily got that nod. while I lost the majority of her fights there at 35. So just that in itself shows that Shevchenko was able to hang with the larger competition. And her at 125, she's been nothing short of just mauling everybody there. She's killed everybody there, and she can match the speed. She matched the speed of Joanna. Joanna's 115, and that's where a lot of your speed is for the females. And Valentina was, I would dare say, was faster than Joanna was. So she's got the speed even on Jessica Eye. She's got the strength on Jessica Eye. She has the grappling most definitely on Jessica Eye. And she's like I don't know how many time, like 20-time world champion Muay Thai kickboxer, champion. So she has the advantage in the striking too. So I don't see anywhere in this fight where Jessica Eye can change the course. She's not a heavy hitter. She doesn't have dynamic skills where she can easily take the back and choke her out or mess her up. So I think that it's an easy victory for Shevchenko. I'm going to say TKO stoppage by the third round. And that brings us to the main event, Moraes versus Henry Cejudo. Henry's coming up from 25. This is Moraes. That's his actual division, 135. And you've got him. He's Moraes. He's a monster. I mean, the guy's a monster. What he did to Aljo, the head kick to Jimmy Rivera. The guy's got speed. He's got power. He looks like he's taking nothing less than every steroid that's ever been put on the planet. The guy's shredded and just strong, and he's going to definitely be the bigger of the two, and the stronger and the more powerful of the two. So he's going to be able to close that show a lot easier. That said, Henry Cejudo is going to be the faster of these fighters. I guarantee it. We saw TJ at 25, and though he had a cut, and TJ is pretty fast for the 35 division, but we saw Henry's speed, how much faster he was than TJ. And I think that's also going to carry off at 35. I think he's still going to be way faster. He's not going to be probably cutting. He's not going to be cutting as much as Moraes is, and so his cardio should be better. His wrestling is definitely far superior. His striking, that's where this is going to end up at. He'll be the man to end have the faster strikes, but will he carry power up at 135? That's where it gets iffy. It could be Cejudo, if he fights a well-rounded game, mixes in his wrestling, mixes in his takedown, strikes, works from the outside, gets in and out. I can very well see him fighting this, but I can see if he gets caught with a clean, hard shot, that could be night-night for Henry Cejudo. But been teetering back and forth. Again, this one could go either way. It could be a pick 'em fight, but I'm going to go with Henry Cejudo, 5 rounds via decision. So anyway, if you got any comments or questions, leave them below, and have a good night. God bless. See you at the fights.